Let's bring in Robert Riggs. He's an assistant professor of world religions at the University of Bridgeport. He joins us now from Connecticut. Robert, what is the Islamic State?
Well, the Islamic State originally began actually in Afghanistan in the year 2000. A guy named Abu Zarqawi began it. He was a Jordanian. He moved eventually to Iraq during the Iraq War. He was killed in 2006, and then the group shifted into the Syrian civil war, where they gained some traction there, gained some battle experience, and now they've moved back, based in Syria still, but moved back into Iraq. And so that's the basic history of the group. They've changed their name several times. They used to be called Al-Qaeda in Iraq. They were called the Islamic State in Iraq, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. Now they've just called themselves the Islamic State.
So why do they keep changing their names?
Well, the most recent name change, I think, is purposeful, because they like to say they are the Islamic State. They're the center of global jihad. They're the state that's now supposed to erase the borders that were created between Syria and Iraq in 1920. And they're calling all Muslims around the world to come and fight on their behalf in Syria and Iraq. Now, unfortunately, they are also calling for the deaths of Shiites and various other Sunni Muslims who don't adhere to their specific ideology.
So what are their goals exactly? What have they achieved so far?
Well, their goal, I believe, is to establish some kind of a global Islamic caliphate, which is an old term for an ancient style of leadership in early Islamic history. But that is obviously a utopian goal. Their more concrete goals, I think, are to conquer territory in Syria and Iraq and overthrow the Baghdad and Syrian and Damascus-based governments.
And who backs them? Who supports them?
Well, they are kind of parasitic. They move from conflict to conflict. They gather foot soldiers from all over the world who go wherever there's a hot conflict, and they latch on to whatever supporters they can. It's probable that there was some money funneled for Syrian rebels or opposition figures fighting against the Assad regime, and some of that money and weapons fell into their hands. They've now conquered Iraqi and Syrian forts and army bases and taken weapons from them. When they tackled the city of Mosul, the second largest city in Iraq, they sacked the central bank and took a lot of money from there. So, while yes, they have some shadowy personal backers from around the world, a lot of their current funding is self-funded through conquest.
And we have about 20, 30 seconds, but I want to know, are they powerful?
Yes and no. I mean, there's only maybe up to 10,000 fighters, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you behave in a way that they do, with beheadings and activities that form terror in minds of the civilians around you, then you can conquer a lot of territory that way.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us on this.
Thank you.